Today's episode really is such an honest, real conversation about running a small business, what it takes and what we all go through and some of those challenges that we have, tools to help support us, but then the honesty that doesn't always happen that way. And I just love my guest, who is Jen Eden, the CEO and co-founder of Tampon Tribe. I love that she just went there and was honest and shared her experience. And halfway through this episode, I was like, Jen, I just feel like we're at a table, like we should have some wine. It's two friends who own businesses talking about business. And you don't often get those opportunities, especially if you don't have somebody else in your life that owns a business and gets it, because it is a different life being a small business owner and especially being in retail. And so I think that you're going to get a lot out of today's episode. Jen has a lot of experience when it comes to retail and running businesses. And I am in a mastermind with her. And I've just always been so impressed by how smart she is. She is just so driven and passionate and offers such great feedback and advice and knows her customers and is so authentic to her mission. And you're going to hear that today. So you're going to love this episode. I know you will. Before we dive in, here's a little bit more about my guest. Jennifer Eden is the co-founder and CEO of Tampon Tribe. With a global background in entrepreneurship, media, and marketing, she leads their fast-growing brand to deliver organic, plastic-free period care, driving innovation, sustainability, and impact in the health and wellness space. You can learn more at tampontribe.com, and they do sell on Fair. So if that makes sense for your store to carry these products, then you should. I am a customer. I am an investor in Tampon Tribe, and I couldn't believe in what they're doing more. So go check them out, and let's dive into this awesome conversation with Jen. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis, the Wolf of Main Street, and this is Rooted in Retail. Jen, welcome to Rooted in Retail. I am so excited you're here.
Oh, me too, Crystal. I've been wanting to get on with you for so long, so we're finally doing it.
I know we are. This is going to be such a good conversation, and I just love that we get to bring your energy and all of your knowledge to the show. So thank you for being here. Before we dive in, will you just take a couple of minutes and share a little bit more about you and your retail journey?
Sure. Well, at the moment, I have a company named Tampon Tribe. We do organic and plastic-free period products. And we do that in a number of silos: retail, D2C, we do wholesale, we do Amazon, and we have private label. And actually, funny you asked that. My retail journey started when I was a teenager. My parents had a health food store when I was young, and I've actually worked in and out of retail, both in the customer service side, in the brand side, in the distribution side, pretty much my whole life.
Wow. I didn't know all of that. We obviously have known each other for a few years. Listeners don't know that, but we are in a mastermind together. So I've got to know Jen over these years, which has been really fun, but didn't realize that you had all this. You're pretty rooted in retail. So
yeah,
that's super
actually,
fun.
I didn't know if I even thought about that before either, to be honest. So yeah, we started working with mum and dad's shop, which was a small independent health food store, and, worked in that and supported them for, a lot of our youth, my brother and myself. And I've always worked retail, now come to think of it, through university, through part-time jobs in all different sectors. So it's funny how bringing all that experience kind of culminates even into hospitality and then back into, into this, and actually into every day. The skills you learn and apply in retail, in service, is kind of multifaceted, right?
Oh, I so agree. I've often said, I feel like it should be a high school class that you work at a retail store and or restaurant. Like, you just learn so much from being in the grind. And so you've learned a lot, that's for sure. And you're building this amazing company. And so I would just love to know what inspired you to start Tampon Tribe, and how did you turn a mission into a thriving retail brand?
So I started Tampon Tribe basically through my own journey of going through endometriosis and really identifying a huge gap in the market, is that there were no chemical-free and plastic-free period products. So I kind of reached out to a brand in Europe, tried them, changed my life, thought, wait a second, My business partner and I were in Venice in California at the time, and we went to the store, they better have these great tampons. They didn't. We're like, why? So let's try this product. And we developed a product. We developed, all sustainable plastic-free packaging, all organic and chemical-free tampons, pads, and liners. And we thought, let's see if everybody else would like this too, And we started with an Indiegogo campaign to do the product market fit. And yeah, people really loved it and were all as surprised as we were that these products weren't available in retail or online or anywhere. And so we started in my living room, packaging and sending direct to consumer. Then the business grew where we had a little garage and my living room. And then it grew and we had 3 garages and then storage sheds and now a warehouse and now an omni-channel business and added products to that mix as well. But it really started very organically, pardon the pun, from a need, and then identifying that many people had this need and that the product that we had developed and the company we were building satisfied that need and continues to do so as we look into, different revenue streams and different ways of selling.
Right. Well, and let's talk about that with different ways of selling, because I know that TikTok is one of the channels. You've got a lot of different channels, and I always recommend retailers to explore TikTok. I think it has the best algorithm of all the social media sites. And there's a lot of different things you could do with TikTok. For example, working with influencers and having them help sell your products. So can you share what you're doing with TikTok and how that's working for Tampon Tribe?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, social media and social selling is a really, really interesting avenue to explore. So we work with TikTok in a couple of ways. We put a lot of our own content up on a daily basis, and I notice a direct correlation of when we post content to sales. That's it. Doesn't even matter what the content is. It's just that regularity and getting in front of people all the time.
Yeah.
So we also use influencers and affiliates. So they then create and post their own content, which generates sales. They make a small commission, but you also get to repurpose that content, which is really exciting, not just in the advertising way, but it's in an organic way as well on your website, on TikTok. And then there's social selling. Now, social selling, we are just dipping our toes in the water. So we started some social selling on TikTok and also on Whatnot.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And we made sales, like not a ton, but for someone, we get on Whatnot, we have 0 followers and you're sitting there like selling your little product. People are buying it. I'm like, wait, what? This is the coolest. And then my team, they got on and they were doing it every couple of days, doing this live social selling. We're making sales. So that's sales that we were doing in our almost downtime or just dedicating half an hour to. And then you start getting a following and then you start scheduling social selling. So that's a whole other world of adding an extra avenue, an extra revenue stream to a business that you already have. You already have the products. You already have either the retail space or the warehouse. And it's just a matter of like 20 minutes just doing it. Like literally we just set up a camera on a desk and started selling. And I've seen people do social selling on TikTok and on Whatnot from anywhere. Like literally they're standing in a warehouse in their t-shirt and shorts saying, I've got this and let's sell it. Here's $1. And people are selling. I'm like, this is so cool because it can be a hard journey, right? And so opening our mind has definitely, opened the avenues for revenue generation.
No kidding. We haven't talked about Whatnot on the show before, and I haven't explored it too much. I've just heard some people talking about it on podcasts I listen to. And so correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a platform mostly for social selling, right? I mean, is that what people are doing there? They're live selling. It's like a live stream selling their products. And is it kind of algorithm based where people can just tune in to live shows, or how do they know to watch you?
From my understanding, it starts off where you just go live, right? And you're not targeting anybody. I mean, you get your friends, hey, I'm on Whatnot, get on, but it just gets shown. And I think then as you become more popular and you make more sales, people start to follow you straight away. Then you post your streaming. You could say, hey guys, we're going to go live on Thursday at 3 p.m. and you post an event, and then Whatnot can promote that and you start drumming up a little bit of business. So say if you had some products that you just wanted to sell, like a sale line, and you had 10 of them and you just wanted to get them out, you could post that for Friday at 1 so people can mark that in their calendars. I haven't explored advertising or anything on Whatnot. I don't even know if it's possible, but I would just get on and try it. Like, what have you got to lose? It's 20 minutes of your life. And if you make no sales, well, we also had good content of us doing that as well. Like, I had a goal of selling one thing and we did a giveaway, like one giveaway, one sale. And so I had someone on my team film that, and then we can repurpose that content too. So it's not like a total loss. It's kind of just a cool thing. I think it's really exciting. And if you listen to a lot of experts, as you've said, Crystal, they're recommending social selling.
Yep. It is a place to be. And I feel like a lot of our listeners, they're comfortable with Facebook live streaming. I would say that's kind of their majority. A lot of them are also doing Instagram, but man, they're really not leveraging TikTok, maybe don't even know about Whatnot, or maybe kind of have heard about it. But to your point, like I want our listeners to not hold themselves back. Like, we've got to test these new channels. Get out there. It takes 20 minutes, test it. How did it go? What did you learn? Get the behind the scenes content, leverage that for social. Like, the industry and technology moves so fast that we have to test these areas to make sure, like, do I need to be here? And it even makes me think of, I did a podcast interview this morning with a retailer who's in a very heavy touristy area, and twice a year, it's really slow where she is, right? Like, hardly anybody. So then that can be a great time to then do more of these live selling on all the different platforms, test them all out and see what performs best. But I love that you're just like, let's do it. Let's try it. And why not?
We just kept putting it off. And I said to my team, I'm like, you know what? 4:00. We're going to do this. They're like, can we do it now? I'm like, no, we're doing it at 4, between 4 and 4:30. That's it. We're going to set up for 5 minutes. And we're going to break down for 5 minutes. We're going to do 20 minutes in between, from 4:05 to 4:25. We're going live. That's it. The end. And you can do it with people even coming into the store, providing you have someone else, to help them. But the whole idea is it's just natural and authentic. That's what does well. It's really crazy. Like, if you look at those platforms and you see who's selling, it's literally just someone sometimes in their spare room. And there's a kid running by and there's a dog and there's a cat and there's a rack of clothes and they're just selling stuff, And that's what made me think I can do this. There was a girl in her warehouse who's just like in her shorts and t-shirt, obviously end of her shift, like, let's just sell some stuff. And she's talking to her colleague, like, what have we got? Oh, we've got this cup. Let's just sell it, and obviously you've got to input that into the system, but someone could do that really quickly. It's pretty easy to onboard, you can put a few products on. And I think you can also just do them without even uploading, because some people are like, this is item 1, and they put a sticker on it and it just goes out to that person. But I thought it was super interesting. So why not? Particularly like you say, when you have a downtime or you have a down hour, or do it at night. Like, we could all do with it. And then people know your brand. So it's not just that initial sale. They get to know, love, and trust you, and they see you and they get to know you in that way. And you're not paying for that. Hopefully people are paying you, So.
We want those sales. But to that point too, like, they might see you on Whatnot or on TikTok or on Instagram or multiple, and that's just going to build that brand trust and really that brand awareness. So why not get out there, do it? And if any of our listeners do it, you got to share with me in our Rooted in Retail Facebook group. Like, tell us how it went. Did you sell something? Like, that's the goal. Be like Jen, just sell one thing. That's the goal.
100%. And the next time I didn't do it, my team did it. I think they sold 5 things, and then we got busy and we stopped doing it. And that's the problem. But if we had kept doing that, what if 5 becomes 10, becomes 20, becomes 50, becomes 100? Now you're on 1,000 units within a few months. Wow.
Right. Game changer.
Game changer. Or 100. Okay, it's not for me. Yeah,
Exactly.
But at least
I tried it, and I know, because there is something about the mental energy that it weighs on us of like, should I do that? Should I do that? Oh, I need to do that. Just try it, see how it works for you. And we can either release it or we can move our teams into it or whatever that looks like. But so good. I'm glad that we're talking about this because our listeners need some of that motivation, and some of them are probably knocking it out of the park as well. Like, it's such a good channel. They got to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So, Jen, I want to know in such a competitive CPG space, especially with sustainability being a buzzword, how do you build real trust and authentic connections with both customers and your retail partners?
For us at Tampon Tribe, authenticity is really at the core of our brand. So there have been plenty of times where we've been tempted to move away from certified organic cotton or move away from sustainable materials, and we've chosen not to. So because we are so dedicated to what we put in our products and how we package our products, for us, it's integral in our brand to reflect that. And that resonates with our customer. So our customers are looking for an authentic brand. They're looking for an authentic product. And I think the hardest thing is to stay very true to that lane, because we can get close. I look at product development all the time and it's almost in line with our brand. And we're like, we can't do it. I'm sorry. Sounds good. It could bring us money. But our core customers and our return and repeat customers come for the authenticity. So we make sure that we display that really proudly on our packaging, on our website, and that somehow continues to cut through the noise. And I say somehow, but it does it because it's authentic. People can see through the non-authentic branding and messaging that you might be putting out. And we had a large, event in the period product space last year where a report came out of Berkeley University identifying all of these so-called organic and sustainable period product brands that actually had heavy metals, that had bleaches, that had plastics and toxins in them. And that catapulted us to the top of the pack, because we've never wavered on that. And so then our customers are like, first of all, if they're already our customers, like, wow, we love Tampon Tribe because of this. And new customers are like, wow, we now love you because of this. So for us, it's integral. And so everything we build when it comes to our branding, our products, our imaging, our social, all resonates that, because it's the truth. It's easy to resonate true. When you're trying to cover up or say this is sustainable, but like full of plastic, it's like, it's not sustainable. And with this generation of shoppers, they care about that, is what we've found. Particularly with social media, people are being detectives. They're saying, wait, you said this is sustainable, but it's got a plastic wrap. And people even say that to us. I got a pad and it's wrapped in plastic. I'm like, no, that's not plastic. It looks like plastic, but it's actually a potato starch film. They're like, oh my gosh, wow. So, even for us, we then have to double down on that. And then I'm thinking, are we not messaging correctly? Where can we improve our messaging if customers are getting a product and they're not quite seeing everything that it is, even though it comes with a little label and it comes with a little card, So I think being true to whatever that message is super important. And if you're a hybrid brand, or a hybrid store, not saying you're anything but that. Like, we're helping the environment, we're helping people. But I think where you can really go wrong is when you're not representing your brand or your store or your product in an authentic way. It comes back to bite you. And I don't think any of us like that.
No, it's not worth it. And to your point, I feel like you said it perfectly. The customers are detectives. I mean, they have so many tools to research and they are doing it. They are spending their time ensuring that this is accurate, this is true to what it is. And they want to spend their dollars with the companies that they trust. Like this generation, the younger generation is spending that time. And I also feel like they're also educating their parents and having those conversations, so it's just, the stakes are too high. Like those lies or, kind of tweaked copy just to get the clickbait or whatever it is, it catches up with you. It's just not worth it. And I just love what you guys are doing. So congratulations on just leading the pack.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. And for us, return customers are very important. So we also have a subscription model online, but return customers in retail, in our direct to consumer, in our business to business is super important for us. So we see a huge amount of return customers. We just did a sale on the weekend and we had an 82% return customer rate, which I love, I'm like, wow, I'm so proud of that, because it's huge that people love the product, that they resonate with the brand, that you're appealing to your core customer base. Not everyone's going to love you. That's okay. And we get trapped in that, right? We want to be all things to all people. It's just going to end in disappointment, right? So, as most of your listeners know, we've all tried to be all things to all people. I still try. I think I still try. Like if I get a customer who's not happy with something, like, oh, should we change it? I'm like, no, it's one customer.
Exactly.
There's hundreds
so
of thousands
hard.
of others. Yeah, it's so hard because we all want validation and we work so hard for it, right? We're so invested, as we should be, in our products and our brands and our stores. So that's normal, but then feel that and then go, okie dokie. What percentage of people really is this? And we did that once. My team here said, wait a second, how many people are part of this group? Can you just do the math? I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, no, it's like 0.001%. They're like, okay, so we're going to fix their orders. We're going to fix these people, but let's not worry about it as much as we do. What about everybody else? And it's funny that as human beings, we go down that path, right?
We do. And we talk about this on the show. You have to come back to the data. Like when you feel emotional, when you're going to make a big change, whatever, like there's power in the data. Let's look at that and our metrics before we make any big changes here to please anybody. But, business owners, we want everybody to be happy. So I get it.
Yeah.
But
it's in our nature, I think. When you're in, retail, service, and exceeding people's expectations, I think it's in your blood. It's what you want to do on a daily basis. So it really hits hard when you feel like you've let someone down or when people are rude to you, which they are, because that's just people, it's very hard not to take that personally. But like you say, take it not personally, take it in for a minute, because often when customers are speaking, they are identifying something. They may be identifying something, right? Like maybe this is a problem we need to fix. All right. But then evaluate it. Like you said, use the data, evaluate what they're saying, the weight of it, the impact of it, and then either fix it if it's something massive, or move on. And we've done that before. Like we've had an issue where we've changed a product and it hasn't been so successful. And we've had our customers like, oh, I hate this change. I'm like, all right, now there are enough people saying this. Okay. So let's go back to a medium ground. Let's first of all make everyone who didn't like the product happy by sending them the new product. And then they're like, wow, yay. We love you guys. Thanks for trying to fix this. Thanks for listening to us. So then you've got customers for life. Hopefully they like the improved product, but if not, they're still going to talk about you in a favorable way because, you might not be their product of choice for whatever reason, but they love the customer service. They love that you listened to them. And so that will come back, whether it's their family, whether it's a friend, whether it's a recommendation, there's always an upside to that.
Yeah. Oh, well said. Thank you, Jen. That was so good. I love it. Now, scaling a value-based business comes with tough decisions like we're talking about here. That's part of it, right? Customer feedback and product design and all of that. So what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned about growth, boundaries, and staying true to your mission, even when the pressure is on?
I think staying true to your mission can be really difficult at times. We get distracted by the shiny object and should I be adding this? You see a competitor do something. That's normal. And I often run down the rabbit hole for a minute and go, wait a second. So what I do now is throw data in at the beginning. Like, what is this going to cost? Do we need it? Do our customers want it? And sometimes looking at that early on gives you the answer. It doesn't mean you don't explore some of these other options, but knowing what your limits are. For us, it's ingredients and sustainability. So I'll see a product development and go, wow, that'd be great to add to our line. Explore, financials, materials. And then if it's all a go, when can I do this realistically? It doesn't have to be done tomorrow. And I think that is a hard concept to come to terms with. And I still go through this on a daily basis. You want to do everything right now because it's money in the bank, right? And it's getting customers right now. And we all have that urgency as a business owner and as an entrepreneur. We want to have all the new things all at once, first to market. You can't do it. You can't do all of it well. And that's a lesson I think I'm still learning very much to this day. I have 3 products that have been on the back burner, almost the front burner for 12 months. And I haven't had the time to really launch them well. So then there's that decision. What do I have to let go to launch that? Am I holding on to too many other things in the business? So it's always that management, and it's almost triaging, right? So how do we shift the business as we grow from a triage situation to a planned growth situation? And most of us are just reactive. We come into the business every day, react. Oh, it's the end of the day. It's 9 o'clock. Right. Sleep. React. Oh, let's do it all again. There's an element of that. But we have to find that tipping point of like, okay, I'm doing reacting for 3 hours a day. The rest now I have to do growth, and I want to do growth. Some days you won't be able to meet that metric. But I find if I start clearing my schedule, if I start prioritizing some of those growth activities, start allocating and empowering my team to take over those responsibilities. And I know, Crystal, that's something you're great at, being able to delegate. I'm still learning from you about that. But it's always going to be a situation where you're balancing each day and each week and each month and each quarter. So that forward planning works to a point, but then let's be realistic. We're in the business. We still have things coming at us all day. It's a matter of saying no to some of those. And then, just recently, I was reading a book about growth, and my favorite quote now is, what is the one thing that I can do today that will make everything else either insignificant or better? So I try now and find that one thing that I must do because it's going to make everything else insignificant or better. And yeah, when we sit on that, and that is not from me, that is, and you're going to have to look it up for me, from the gentleman who started Keller Williams, the real estate.
Oh, yeah. Is it The One Thing? Is that the book? Yeah. Yep. That's a good book. And I mean, imagine if we are looking through that lens, I had to write that down because I'm like, if I approached my day first thing or the night before, if I'm planning through that lens, insignificant or better, I'm going to spend my time way more efficiently. But we just don't even give ourselves that second, right? It's just go, run as fast as I can. And we lack the patience as small business owners, to your point, like we want everything done now. And I know how hard it is. But man, that's what leads to the burnout, or that leads to the loss of money, or ultimately loss of time. I mean, there's just so many side effects of doing it that way. But if we ask better questions like that, we'll get better answers.
Yeah. And in theory, it sounds amazing. I also understand, like you said, I'm the same. I'm up and, you're on your phone in bed. Like, what am I doing? And we can have those perfect morning routines. Great. But let's be realistic. We're business owners, right? So in the real world, yeah, I still love to have like my little coffee in the morning and I sit for a minute. We have all those things, but your mind's already started. However, as the business grows, no matter how small it is, you still have growth, whether it's one store, whether it's one shelf of products to 2 to 10. And maybe that's all you want. That's all you need to grow. No one has to become a massive business. It doesn't have to be everyone's goal. Sometimes it feels like we're chasing the wrong goals. Sometimes we can just maximize what we have in front of us, and that is more than enough. And I've definitely learned that the hard way. I've had businesses in the past where grow. And then one business starts to fail and the other one comes across it and then they're all bleeding. I'm like, you know what? In hindsight, I should have just kept that one location and just knocked it out of the park. However, that's life. And we love those challenges, right? But yeah, I think taking that minute, I try and do the evening schedule now as well. In theory, it's awesome.
I know. I'm still kind of the day of. I feel like I have a killer morning routine. I stick to it. I love it. It gets my mind right. And then it could go off the rails a little bit from there, but I'm finding new ways to really help support me. And I'll actually share it right now because I haven't talked about this on the show. Like one thing I found is saying, wouldn't it be nice if, and instead of like, if there's something on your to-do list and you're dreading it, or it's like, it feels so heavy, or you keep pushing it off, instead you say, wouldn't it be nice if I balanced out my books for the month and I actually found a lot of joy in it and put on some music and it was fun, and then I got it done today. And so you just like, you reframe it in your brain of like making it be nice. Wouldn't it be nice if whatever that hard thing is? And I have found this to make my days a lot lighter. You know, I'll be like, would it be nice if all my meetings were so fun today? That I did that yesterday because I'm still like kind of coming off of a month-long vacation, and I had 5 meetings yesterday, and that was feeling like a lot of meetings. And so I'm like kind of feeling the pressure of it in the morning. So I was like, wouldn't it be nice if all my meetings were so fun? You know what? I had the best day. Like I was so excited. I couldn't wait for the next one. And I wanted to tell them all, I'm having such a good day. Like my meetings have been so good. So, you know, you got to find what works for you and the tools and try to stick to it. We're all in this together trying to figure it out. But
yeah, I love that actually. I mean, there's a lot that gets said about mindset and, you know, whether you're in it or not, but there are some really strong elements that work, you know, and we wake up and find that often like we have a lot to do, and there are a lot of demands on business owners today, right? You know, there's a ton, and then every day there's a new thing that we should or shouldn't be doing, and a new social media, and we have like a brain of sticky notes. My colleague was just talking about that today. She's like, doesn't your brain just feel like it's all sticky notes? I'm like, yeah, and then they fall down, right? And then you're getting them off the floor and sticking them back up. Yes, but I think adding a bit of fun and a bit of joy to those tasks, like you said, it can take some effort. You know, sometimes you get out of bed and go, then you're like, right, come on, I can do this. You know, I feel like a 5-year-old sometimes, like, I can do this, you know, but bringing the element of play and joy. You're not going to have it all day. Maybe you'll have a 5-day happy meeting. That's awesome. But, you know, sometimes you have those low times and those angry times. You know, you have those meetings and you find that you've raised your voice, which I do not like doing, but it happens. And it's not at anyone. It's just everyone's frustrated. That's okay. Also, don't beat yourself up for doing that, right? It's like that happened. We were all frustrated. Now move on. Like it doesn't have to carry with you all day.
It's so true. Release it. Oh my gosh. You know, I just feel like, Jen, I feel like I wish we had a couple glasses of wine and we were just chatting about business. Like this is what I feel like this episode is. It's just the good and what's helping us, but also just the realness of business and how that can be really hard. And I talked to a retailer a few months ago who was like, I don't have any friends who have a business and they don't get it. So I can't talk to anybody about this. Like I just feel so stuck and so trapped. And I'm just glad we're having this conversation recorded so other retailers don't feel alone when they're going through this, because it's normal to have the hard days. It's normal to raise your voice. It's normal to feel frustrated. It's normal to want everything now. And there are some tools that can support you. And then you might fall off. Like I'm loving this conversation.
Yeah, well, thanks. Me too,
it's
because
important.
I agree with your previous retailer that you had on the show. It is really difficult, you know, to look around your circle of friends. And unless someone's had their own business, they find it very hard to understand it, because no one, I think, has gone through the weight that you carry. I mean, there's so much joy. There's exciting. There's so much adventure within a business that you can revel in, and creativity. And maybe we don't talk enough about that weight that comes with it, the 3 a.m. wake-ups, you know, that are not always there, but they're there and they're very real. They're very real. And I've been in business now for, more than 20 years in hospitality and in retail, having our own businesses. And sometimes you'll go through a few months, you're like, oh, wow, I feel great. There's money in the bank. Everything's going well. And then something will happen, like a whole lot of inventory has to be purchased and all the cash is out. And you're like, oh, wait, what? The business is still doing well, but you have a different level of stress, right? As you grow, so do all of those demands. Growth brings a lot of that. And are you the right person to handle that? And who do you talk to? So hopefully I feel supported having conversations like this. So hopefully other people do as well.
Totally. Yeah. One thing I'll add, I'm listening to the book Shine. It's the new Gino Wickman book now I can't think about other books he's written, but he's written a lot and he's like the EOS guy, entrepreneurial operating system and traction, I think, and great books. In it, he heard a mentor of his say, in 10 years of business, you're going to have 6 years of just it's humming along, 2 really hard, challenging years, and 2 really big growth years. That's typically like through studies and what they found. And so when you can plan for that, when you know that there are going to be 2 really hard years, like in a 10-year span, you're going to probably run into something like a recession, a pandemic we never saw coming. Like you never know what's going to be happening. So you can plan for those things from a cash flow perspective. Then you can have the really high, years, but 6 of that's pretty standard type of business. And I think we can cause some problems in those 6 years we can get bored. We want to mix it up, like whatever is going on. But if you don't have that network and that patience with yourself and some of these tools we're talking about, I think it just makes it really challenging. And so I'm grateful for our friendship, for podcasts, all of this good stuff. Jen, before we jump into the resilience round, I'm curious, what kind of advice do you have for retailers who are looking to bring in more sustainable and impactful products?
Yeah, I think always be cognizant of what you're bringing in, how it's manufactured, how it's wrapped, the excess packaging. You can look at your suppliers or your partners and make sure that they have certifications in place, or even if they're not certifications, that they're ethically aligned with you, and then just double check. If someone's saying they're sustainable, you can ask them for a certificate. If they're saying a product is compostable or biodegradable, they'll have all that certification. Even if it's not from them, it's from their manufacturer. And they're easy to ask for. Get on WhatsApp. And if your manufacturer's in Europe, in China, they'll send it to you, so just double check. I've noticed that a few people in my space will say we're sustainable. And then you're like, how is this possible? I sell tampons and, their tampons have a plastic applicator, have a plastic wrap, come in a plastic package. And there is nothing sustainable. And then you look at their little caveat and it says, we recycle bottles in our office. I'm like, well, that's an excellent thing to do. But that is not making you a sustainable brand. However, their website has sustainability written all over it. So there's a lot of greenwashing in the industry. So my suggestion would be just ask the questions. So first of all, someone will have a sustainability certification on their website if they are certifiably sustainable. Thought about certified, it'll be something else right then. So if someone is sustainable, they'll have a certification and it should be on their website or on their literature. The certifying bodies are very strict on what you can and can't publish. Now, they might not be certified, but they should have a paragraph somewhere on their website because you'd be really proud of the fact that you're sustainable or you're balancing out with a sustainable initiative. We work with a company called Greenworms. They are in India. They pick up bottles and plastics from the ecosystem. So we double down on our sustainability and we only work with sustainable suppliers. We ask for their certifications. So we'll have that somewhere on our website. We have it everywhere. You'll have it somewhere. And if not, I always think it's like going to a doctor. Like your doctor's going to have the certifications on the wall because they're really hard to get, right?
Exactly.
So if someone's really sustainable, they'll have those certifications everywhere because they're hard to get and they're costly. It's an investment from the business. And if you're in a situation where maybe a sustainable product doesn't meet your bottom line, what can you then do in the business to help recycle? So say if you're doing products with plastic, do you have a return policy? Can you help bringing in like the plastic bottle that it's made in? Can you accept them and recycle them? Can you give a little bit of an incentive to your customer to help with that? When you're packaging, do you need to put it into a bag, plastic or paper? How do we break down packaging that still can look beautiful, but maybe it's a little piece of twine around the product rather than a carry bag. So little things like that, I think, are really easy to implement. We haven't got to go crazy and overhaul the whole, the whole store, the whole warehouse. But what are the small things we can do? We ship in biodegradable bags, for example. We don't ship in plastic. We limit our wraps. We have a reusable part of the business where, as you know, you get a bag with your first order and then we refill the rest of the orders. And we work with a ton of small refill stores. We love our refill retailers, and they buy a lot of our products in bulk, and their customers come in and then they just refill. So this is something that this current generation is loving, by the way, loving it. You know, so I think just looking around, like, what can I do right now today to eliminate a bit of plastic, right? That's enough. And that all compiles. You can make a difference. I think knowing that you can make a difference as one person is where sometimes we fall short. We think it's just me. It's just my team. It's just my store. Yeah, but a little bit goes a really long way. We love to reuse boxes and reuse packaging, and we write that. We recycle boxes or we reuse boxes, and we get people saying, we love that you do that. So there's a lot of little ways that don't have to cost anything that you can do.
Yeah. Oh, those were such great tips. And I love it. I love it. I love it, Jen. Okay. Are you ready for the resilience round?
I'll do my best.
Okay. Best business book.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Good one. Best retail technology, like an app or software.
DOS. We're just putting DOS as our ERP in the back end of our business now, and so far loving it.
Amazing. Okay, great. How do you keep up with the ever-changing retail landscape?
Listening. Listen to your customers, listen to your manufacturers, listen to your suppliers, and pivot when necessary.
Mm-hmm. If you had to start your business all over again, what's one thing you'd do differently?
Employ a CRM from the beginning. Keep track of what you're doing.
Yes. And for anybody who's listening, CRM, customer retention management, right? That's what it, yeah. That's where you have all the info on your customers. You need to have that in place. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And you can get some affordable ones out there, not just a Google Sheet. Even a Google Sheet's good to start, just something.
Right. Something. Have it. Yes, have it in place. Finally, Jen, what do you think the future of independent retail looks like?
I think it is exciting. Independent retail is where we can make a difference, and it's growing. You know, young consumers, old consumers, middle-aged consumers, we're looking for something different. And as an independent retailer, we can offer that old school personal service in a modern framework.
I couldn't agree more. Jen, this was such a good conversation. Thank you for being here. How can people learn more and connect with you?
Sure. So my company is Tampon Tribe. You can find us at tampontribe.com. We're also on all the socials at Tampon Tribe, and feel free to reach out to me directly. My Instagram is Jen, Jen _Eden, Eden, or just reach out on the website and say, I'd love to speak to Jen. And I'm more than happy to take feedback, give feedback, just connect, and keep growing this great circle.
Oh, I love it. And we'll link to all that too. Jen, thank you so much for being here. What you're doing as a customer of Tampon Tribe. I love the product. I love being a part of the tribe. And thank you for sharing today.
My pleasure, Crystal. Oh, I should also say that we're on Faire as a wholesaler. So if anyone wants to stock Tampon Tribe products, you can find us on Faire.
I'm glad you said that. So that's amazing. So if you do shop on Faire, and if this makes sense for your store, which I think a lot of our listeners it could, check out Tampon Tribe on Faire. Amazing. Jen, thank you. This was
My
great.
pleasure.
Everyone, remember that I'm rooting for your success. Have a great week ahead. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Rooted in Retail podcast. It means the world to me to have you here. If you find value in this show and you listen on an iPhone, if you could leave a review on the Apple Podcast app, that would be amazing. And if you watch YouTube, if you're a YouTube subscriber, we film this. And so if you rather watch the show, you can also do that over on YouTube. Again, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.